Welcome everybody to Strangest Species, Season 2, Episode 1.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if we're going to do that every week or not.
This is a new thing you never told me about.
Well, I figured, at the end of 1 year, 52 episodes, maybe now we'll do Season 2. I was just wondering, I was like, man, my audio sounds funny, but I only have one headphone on.
Well,
there we go.
That would probably solve all your problems.
Now I can hear all the audio. That's much nicer. I'm your host, Mike Davis.
And I'm your host, Ethne Davis.
And here we are.
Here we are.
In our little studio.
Yep.
That's very warm.
Yeah.
Are you warm?
I
think it's pretty warm.
It's been a warm day.
So Ethne and I have a pretty okay, decent house.
Yeah.
But our studio, when we first moved in, was a quadruple closet. It was a double closet made of 2 double doors.
Yeah.
That the previous owners had all Christmas decorations in.
Or all sorts of decorations. She was basically like the Martha Stewart of this neighborhood.
Yeah. And then people were like, are you going to be that person? We're like, no, we will not be those people.
I don't think I could ever live up to
the giant tree.
No, I could never live up to Patty.
But
we turned it into a literal bedroom. Like it has a window in it, and there a twin bed fits.
Put a closet in there.
And then our little boys decided that they didn't want to sleep separate, so then we put them into a shared room and have turned it into our studio. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at.
There is a entrance to the attic in here.
Yes,
I think that would terrify a little child.
Oh, totally. But I don't even know if they'd really notice it. It's kind of very discreet. It's not like framed or, like it doesn't.
No. I would have noticed that as a little kid.
Yeah, well,
Speaking of funny little kids, our oldest little boy, 12-year-old. I have really bad allergies, so if I sneeze a lot tonight, I apologize. I was at our camper last weekend with all of our boys, and Ethne and our daughter were here, and she called me early in the morning because she spotted, what did you spot, Ethne?
Oh, a raccoon. You guys, a raccoon on the fence.
Now, we have, if you're a newer listener, we have raccoon problems because last year they came and first day of school, actually. And they'd been on a few nights in a row massacre of our chickens. And then
Labor Day weekend.
We had a funny
experience.
You'll
have to go listen to that episode if you haven't.
Trying to get away from bees and raccoons.
After trying to hunt the raccoon. I mean, it was...
So we haven't seen the raccoon since.
Legit movie. No, we have not. I could not believe it when I opened the blinds.
And
he was just walking on the fence like a cat walks on the fence.
We have baby chickens right now, too. So
yeah,
we
do.
Super cautious.
I was so nervous to go out to the coop.
Have dead chickens.
Oh, speaking of the coop.
I locked them up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
The little door?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the raccoon's back. Now, last time we had the raccoon, our oldest son was super into, I just want to sleep outside and shoot it. And we just never got to a point where it was like school nights, you can't sleep outside tonight and blah, 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 whatever. So when this time he was very
adamant
that he was going to sleep outside.
Set up a tent.
So last night we got out my little one-man backpacking tent and he loaded it up with all 4 different guns, all airsoft guns.
Yeah. Don't let us make you think that we have real guns for our 12-year-olds. In the city. Well, kind of. We're in the county, but anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, so he had all these different guns. He had knives. He had flashlights. He took out all sorts of snacks, like he was going to live out there.
Yeah, he does this, though. It's he gets really invested.
Very into it. Took the dog out there.
The dog did not want to stay out there.
Had no desire to.
And the cats wanted everything to do with the tent and were climbing all over the place and driving him insane. And after 3 hours of being out there, he came barging in what did he say to you?
Well, he's just so funny. He just comes bursting in the backyard. He's like, I'm going to bed in my bed.
Didn't he say
I don't want to sleep out there. I'm like, why not? But he's like, it's scary.
I think he was annoyed because I think we've mentioned this before. We don't live close to a freeway, but close enough that if they rev their engines or if there's an ambulance, you can hear it.
Yeah, and there's a highway not far away, but people are out there.
Well, they like to rev at nighttime.
I think they're out there racing.
Because it's a big straight strip.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And so late at night,
Yeah, so there was that, and then our air conditioner heat pump. I don't know what it is.
Probably older than Ethne and I.
Going to die. Literally, we've been saying that since we moved in, and it's still alive. I mean, that was 6 years. It's terrifying.
It's extremely loud, and
it sounds like a dying animal of some kind. It's terrible. And so he's like, "That thing is scary."
Yeah, he didn't like that thing.
So, anyway, we had to. There was just a lot. So I'm glad he came in and chose to. But I'm also glad that we gave him the opportunity, because we've never done that before, to let him feel like he could.
Yeah.
Oh, the adventures.
But he didn't make it, which is fine.
That's okay.
And the raccoon probably didn't even show up.
Yeah, you guys, I don't understand raccoons. It's like you are walking on a fence, but then they're also so sneaky and sly at the same time. Walking on a fence is not sneaky. It's not sly at all.
No, it's very out in the open.
Like, I wish so badly when I opened that I had the airsoft in my hand at that time. I'd probably have terrible aim and scare it down, and then I'd never see it again anyway. Like, what is the solution? We've had a trap.
We keep the airsoft. I keep the airsoft by the back door.
Well, you like to shoot my chickens, too.
I like to shoot the chickens.
When they get in my
I don't shoot the chickens. Shoot at the chickens. When they get in the garden, I shoot them with the airsoft gun. And it doesn't hurt them. Well, I'm sure it hurts them. It doesn't break their skin.
Oh, no, they're feathers, totally.
But they quickly get back to the run.
Yeah, they know. They know that they're not supposed to be out there.
But I stopped doing that. Now I just spray them with the hose.
Now that the hose is connected?
Yeah.
So wintertime is your airsoft and... Yeah. Okay, perfect. We have a system.
Yeah, but normally I don't even have to shoot them. I can just get...
Even if you just open the door and say, hey, they go running towards...
Yeah. Well, I'll shoot near them and I'll hit the fence behind them.
Oh, it makes a sound.
It's loud and they know I'm coming after them.
That's funny.
And then they take off.
So our new girls are beautiful.
They are
you guys probably don't care about our chickens. We should probably...
I don't really care about our chickens. Adley really likes our chickens.
I don't really like our chickens. I'm a good mom. I'm a good animal mom. That's all. I really like our kitties. I really like
cats too. We have the friendliest cats.
They're the sweetest.
They like to snuggle a lot.
They're so cute. So anyway.
Yeah. Anything else going on in life?
The kids are almost done school.
Yep. That's a nightmare.
No, it's not a nightmare. It's not. It'll be fine.
2 weeks from now, when we do episode number 3 of this season, you are not going to say that same thing.
Not true. Not true.
You're going to say, when does school start back up?
That's not true. Nope.
We'll see.
I'm so excited to not have to do the mornings anymore, because the mornings are so terrible with them. They're the worst. The worst. So I'm actually very excited about that. It's just the routine and structure for one of our kiddos but I honestly, besides that, I would love summer. Everything about it.
Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah. So.
All right, Ethne.
All right. Well.
Question of all questions.
Ooh, here we go.
What do you think we should talk about today?
What do you think we should talk about, or what we are going to talk about?
You can give me either.
Oh. Well, I think we should talk about the Ogopogo and the Loch Ness Monster.
You left out the Lake Champlain monster.
I don't know that one.
What's the one here in the United States?
Well, I'm a Canadian, so I'm sorry.
So when she says Ogopogo, that's the Canadian version of the Loch Ness Monster. She's not saying Oingo Boingo, the 80s band.
Nope.
With frontman Danny Elfman.
Definitely not.
Who later became famous for his composition and musical scores, such as The Nightmare Before Christmas, where he voices Jack Skellington.
Thank you for being such a factoid. What would we do without you?
And wrote beautiful scores, such as Beetlejuice.
Yes, he did.
Batman.
Okay, so that's what I think we should talk about.
Okay.
What I think we are talking about, though, is let me see.
So she never knows.
Something.
She's not going to actually get there.
About crocodiles in Florida.
Well, Again.
Alligators.
Thank you.
Alligators.
There's no crocodiles in Florida.
I even thought about it and I thought I had it right.
Just go alphabetical.
What does this mean?
Just think, is it A or is it a C? Alligators or crocodiles? Just know. Okay. In America, it's alligators. It comes first.
Oh, I see. And then crocodiles.
Just know it's not crocodiles.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to do Florida ends in A. Alligator. A.
There you go.
That's what I'm going to do.
You got it.
It works better for me in my brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there Panthers in Florida? Because their hockey team are the Panthers.
Are there real ice things in Florida? Do they know what hockey is?
Yeah, they're about to win the Stanley Cup. So apparently enough.
Okay. I don't know what we're talking about. Let's find out though. Was I close?
No, not really.
Okay.
But that's okay. You'll learn right now.
Okay. I'm ready.
So I have a real question for you, okay? It's a deep question.
I'm ready.
Maybe not deep, but I want you to really think about it.
Okay.
End of World War II.
Okay.
The war comes to an end.
Mm-hmm.
What was life in Europe like for Jewish people after the war ended?
Oh, gosh. That's a big
Have
question.
you ever thought about that? I've never really thought about it.
Oh, I've thought about it, especially with the books that I like to listen to.
That's true. You like to listen to books about World War II.
Not all the time.
Right.
And not like...
I like the wars.
They're like historical fiction. It's still like a story.
It's about like a person who's going through stuff.
Yeah. Gosh, I cannot imagine.
Let's say you were in a concentration camp.
Right.
And you get liberated in 1945.
You actually survived them.
And then it's like, you just hop on a train and go back home?
That's exactly in this book what happens.
And then what happens in your life? Like,
well, it doesn't really talk about what happens after that, but if you can only imagine how grateful you would be for, a toilet, a shower.
for sure.
Like even having one meal of a day, you would be, everything about you would change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
you're definitely right with all those things. But let's say you get home and most of your friends and family are gone.
You just
let's say you're from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Can you continue to live in a country that just tried to exterminate your entire race?
No, you'd move. I'm certain you would move. I think how would you not try to get away from that? Try to go somewhere where
the PTSD would be out of this world.
Just out. You would never. I'm trying to find the name of the book that I just finished.
The other thing that I thought about, and history is funny this way.
Oh, it's Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale.
The Nightingale.
And I Kristen Hanna is deep, but oh my gosh.
I've never read this book.
No. Oh, it's so good. It takes place in France, in Paris. And goodness gracious, that's her code name, the Nightingale. She helps downed airmen escape once they get shot down by German planes, but they didn't die. She tries to find them, keep them safe, and escape through these mountains in the back country to get to the border and get them home so they can keep fighting, essentially. And just the process of everything that happens to her and her sister and her friends and the ones that are Jewish. And it's holy. And she gets caught. She goes to a prisoner of war camp. It's legit. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, if you think history, I find is fascinating in this sense that it's easy to look back on history and see very clear lines that, mark the beginning and ending of things. You know, it's like, okay, World War II for the United States started at Pearl Harbor and it ended, you know, in 1945. But in reality,
there's a lot of things that happened before that.
Gray area that's going on. I mean, you could probably make an argument that World War I and World War II are just kind of two parts of the same conflict with a peaceful part in the middle, or a more peaceful part in the middle, you know?
Sure. I mean, sure, I guess there could be that argument. Mm-hmm.
Not saying I would make that argument, but what I'm saying? Like, living it. So right now, for example, with everything going on with Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Palestine and blah, 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 we wouldn't say we're in World War III. But 50 years from now, let's say a giant world war starts, historians might look back in 2024 and say, like, well, the writing was on the wall. Like, it's already going. We just haven't had.
It hasn't actually touched the whole world yet.
Right. Like those kind of things.
It is happening in those places, but it hasn't touched the whole world yet.
Like, historically, it's very easy to put these markers.
Right.
Where in real life, it's much harder.
Yeah.
So we can easily look back and say, the war ended in 1945. But if you were a Jewish person heading home,
I don't think
how do you know that someone's not coming for you again tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know, how
like
do
it would
you know
be so hard to
be
really
a resurgency? There's not going to be like
to believe that.
Is it possible that another Holocaust will happen?
Right.
You know, now we have 80 years where we haven't, but you don't know that when you go home from the war, right? Mm-hmm. And the reality was, for a lot of Jewish people when they went home, they still were harassed. There still were places, maybe it wasn't officially the German government and Nazis and that, but there were lots of people who still had those feelings and still terrorized, murdered, did, you know, evil things to Jewish people. And we won't go into any of those details, but there's lots out there of accounts. And I read quite a few of them of pretty horrific things that happened to people even after they got home. Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine.
And you don't ever hear of that part of it in history class.
Not necessarily those specifics.
Not that you can, because there's so many details to anything, you can't learn all of it, right? But, you know, for a lot of people, at least a fair portion, that was reality after World War II. It wasn't all just parades and yay, we won the war, and now life moves on to super prosperous times.
Right.
It was still dark and it was still tough. So in 1945, which is obviously when the war ended, there was a Jewish man by the name of Abba Kovner. Okay. Now he had fought with the Soviet Armenian. Nope, that's a made up word. The Soviet Army.
I like to make up words.
Yes. As a partisan, that's what I was thinking of. So he wasn't a Soviet. He wasn't Russian. But he kind of was a guerrilla warfare fighter.
Interesting.
With their army. And he was, like I said, he was Jewish. Right. So he was just fighting back. And when the war ended, he actually had a chance to go and visit a concentration camp and see for himself, you know, the atrocities that had happened there.
Maybe I'd want to see it to actually be able to believe it. Because it's like I can't believe that this is humans doing this to other humans. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's why. Otherwise, I would never want to go there.
Yeah.
Never want to see that.
Again, I think it's different for us having history on our side. We know what happened. In the moment, you've never seen this before.
That's what I mean.
You know, like, it's new.
And that's why it was almost too hard to believe. Like, you had to almost see this concept to even believe this
kind of factories of death.
Oh, it's
on civilians.
Yeah. For no reason.
Yeah. So he saw them. He met with lots of survivors. He learned their stories. He listened intently as they retold, you know, countless stories of just really unthinkable cruelty that had happened to them or their families and who they'd lost and all these things. And, for Kovner, he felt that the only way to end the violence one and for all was to take revenge on the Germans. He thought that you needed to send a really strong message via violence, via war, to make sure that another Holocaust or anything like that could never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And which was kind of a, I don't know if I've ever really heard of
it's
organized
a very
attempts like
guerrilla warfare type thing, like one man trying to secretly, if you will, like not rise up to power and not take any fame, kind of like the reverse way, but like kind of just Count of Monte Cristo-ish, like get the revenge on those people that maybe were the ultimate leaders of the, I mean, because there's so many people that did things that they didn't want to be doing. They were just, I mean, they were like, I don't have another choice. I have to serve my country. I'm from Germany. I don't want to do this to people. Like, I basically kind of have to.
Yeah.
And then there were definitely those that bought into the mind frame, right? Like the.
Yeah. There were probably a lot of people who really didn't even know what was going on too. Lower rankings kind of people, you know.
Well, if you're commanded to do stuff that's terrible for no reason.
Sure. But I mean, there'd be a lot of people in the German army who were nowhere near concentration camps and things like that.
Sure. But I'm just saying, like, for a lot of these people, they didn't want to do it. And for a lot of them, they kind of got brainwashed into thinking that it was justified.
Really fascinating.
Oh, it's
like the general thought process of.
Wow.
I mean, patriotism will definitely. It's easy to justify things you wouldn't normally justify, but even then, you would think there'd be like a limit. You know,
100%.
Like when 9/11 happened, our generation from high school, our buddies. I mean, they all joined the Marines. Like it was a call to arms, and everyone felt justified. And,
but his approach is.
But this is obviously way less than mass extermination of people.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess this guy's approach is probably not the smartest.
Well, his approach is only like half of what you're saying. So he did want to enact revenge, but he was not interested in going after the hierarchy. He was interested in going after just Germany. He wanted to...
Germany. So like...
civilians, everything. No, like...
But the people... Like to take down the nation and just like defame the nation? Or like just anyone that was German was a victim?
Yes. Not necessarily bring down the country. More so, he didn't care who the victims were, just as the Germans didn't care who the victims were of the Holocaust. He just thought you needed to enact an appropriate response on Germany.
Okay.
And so...
Don't know if this is a smart choice.
So he began seeking out like-minded men and women to join him.
Okay.
And he did, and he formed a group of Jewish people, mostly men. There might have been some women. I never read about any women. I saw a picture with a group of them. Maybe there was a woman in there.
Okay.
I'm not sure. So I won't say it's all men, but definitely mostly men. And they were called the Nokmim, which is the Hebrew word for Avengers.
Ooh, the real life Avengers.
The real Avengers, the Jewish Avengers. That were actually out to avenge.
I mean, yeah, that's a good name. Maybe that's where the Avengers came from, was from the Nokmim.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, side note, and this is one of my guilty pleasures, is Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, yes.
Which is about a group. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in that movie. But one of the side stories, Brad Pitt's group, is a bunch of Jewish servicemen whose mission is to just terrorize German soldiers.
As best they can.
As a message. And they have this big giant guy who beats people with baseball bats that they call the Jew Bear. And it's a phenomenal movie. Christoph Waltz is amazing. The best bad guy, best villain of all time in that movie.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't remember his name. I want to say Hans Liebken, but that's from the producers.
Yeah, that's not the right name.
Wrong, fake German.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of fake Germans.
But Will Ferrell's role in the producers as Hans Liebken is also wonderful.
Oh, totally. Much funnier, way less terrible.
Springtime for Hitler.
In Germany.
And Germany. Yes, that is also from the producers, not Quentin Tarantino's movie.
No.
But either way. Now I have all these great movies stuck in my head.
You gotta get past it.
Gotta focus. So he forms the Avengers.
Nokmim
are the name of the Avengers. The group was called... What was the group called? We're going to say this word a whole lot. The Nokmim.
Nokmim.
Nakam. And that was Hebrew for vengeance.
Okay.
So they were the Nokmim was the group. The Nokmim were the people of the Avengers. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So their goal was simple, Ethne. A simple revenge goal.
Okay.
They wanted to kill 6 million Germans.
Because that's how many, like equal?
Yeah, I don't know why they picked 6. No, because I haven't studied the Holocaust in a long time. For some reason, 11 to 12 million is the number in my head.
I
don't
can't
know.
say that it's too many.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
But they wanted to kill 6 million Germans. They didn't care if they were men, women, children. They just wanted a massive retaliatory act to send a message that don't ever try this again.
I'm going to just tell you this is not the way to do it. Yeah. Anyway, that's just me,
That's just you.
You don't have to listen to me.
Well, I'm not sure it would be my cup of tea either. But I've never had my people try to be exterminated.
Sure.
So I can't
100%
speak how I would react.
Right. But
in general, I'm anti-killing women and children. Just so people know. It's a general rule of mine.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Thought you should know that maybe.
I feel like I already knew that.
Good. So,
Okay.
but the group was, one, if you're recruiting people, okay, I don't know how this recruitment goes. You're like, I want to kill 6 million Germans. I need to find other people who want to kill 6 million Germans.
Well, maybe if you have a bunch of very damaged because of what they've been through, and they're already very down. They have nothing to live for. Their family is gone. They barely survive themselves. I feel like it would be very easy to round up some very demoralized humans to do that, because you would be so lost, right?
Ethne, you would have been a great recruiter, because those are exactly the people that they looked for.
For sure.
And he was one of these people himself.
Sure.
He had seen the atrocities and lost so much. So these men were so driven by anger and grief and vengeance and revenge that they often saw themselves as already dead.
Literally, I think you would be
They kind of
almost dead
considered
inside.
themselves like zombies.
Well, you kind of had to be literally like a zombie to survive just the grueling stuff these people
So here's
went
a
through.
quote by one of the men from the Nokmim. Quote, it says, instead of suicide, after you arrive home and found that no one was left and the scope of the disaster was unbearable, came vengeance. Vengeance was a kind of suicide, because afterward there would certainly be no sense of staying alive. End quote.
Yeah, he couldn't have said it any better.
So they already, like I said, saw themselves as living in this
Oh, it's so desolate.
altered, pale, worthless state, right?
Oh, for sure. Well, even just their country is so war-torn. It's devastating. Like, to recover from all of the stuff that the land, their homes are building. I mean, where would you even begin?
If you owned a bakery and you were a Jew, you can't go back and just start making bread again.
Nope. So I can see this would be a very good time to form such an alliance as this.
Yeah. It was just something I never thought about, really.
No, me either.
So
I'd never thought about forming an alliance of vengeance.
So did I tell you how big the group was?
Not yet.
Okay, so he recruited, it was about a group of about 50.
50 to kill 6 million people?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's enough.
Well, They came up with 2 plans.
Oh, gosh.
And you're going to be really proud of this, Ethne.
Am I?
They had insanely creative code names for their 2 plans.
Oh. Like better than Nokmim?
Yeah, way better. The first plan was Plan A. Can you guess what the second plan was?
Plan B?
Correct.
What?
You got it.
What's A in German?
I don't know.
Well, were they German Jews? Like Jews that
I think they were
Germany?
actually from all over the place.
Oh, all over. They just, okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder,
Plan A and Plan B.
I like it.
Very creative, but to the point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like my cars to get me from A to B. So.
Yeah. So here's Plan A.
Okay.
In a nutshell. They wanted to poison the water supply of a major German city and kill millions of its inhabitants.
Okay.
That's Plan A.
Okay.
So you don't need hundreds of thousands of men to do that.
Nope. 50 would be enough for that.
50 would be enough. Plan B.
If it was that simple, I just don't quite know.
Poison the water supply of a base
Like a military base? Okay.
where thousands of German prisoners of war were being held. Those are the plans.
But I mean, Plan B is only thousands.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you need many, many thousands to make 6 million.
Yes. So they wanted to start with Plan A. I think that's why alphabetically it was first.
I'm wondering.
I think by definition it like kind of denotes that that's going to be the first plan you come to.
Sure. So obviously it was successful.
Well, you've heard about this, right? When they killed 6 million civilians?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll see if it was successful or not then.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that we would know about it if they did actually succeed. But I could be wrong.
Could be wrong.
I'm not a major historian, you know?
Yeah. You were probably so happy after the end of the war, you just phased out. You didn't pay attention to the rest of class.
Well,
When
to
the
be
Avengers
honest,
came.
yes, it's true. Yeah, that's probably the most accurate. Mm-hmm. All right. So what do you put in the water? I want to know what they used or tried to use.
Let's not rush ourselves.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Okay.
So first off, when you want to do such a big job, you need stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And there's no stuff.
Right. So once they got Plan A and Plan B planned, then they had to start doing the legwork. And that included securing funding from Jewish organizations around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they actually told them what their plan was, or if they pretended to be like humanitarian or, other kind of things to get funding.
Yeah.
I do not know the answer to this question. It's just
it just sounds all just bad all around.
They also needed to start infiltrating German companies and businesses so that you could actually have men on the ground.
Infiltrating. Yeah.
Like if you're going to poison the water supply, you got to have people working in the water department or in water plants or,
Yeah.
You can't just walk up and start pouring vats of poison into the river.
Why not?
Well, people probably see you.
Well, I could be sneaky.
It's a lot of poison.
I mean,
And on top of that, you actually have to gather and store large amounts of poison.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what kind of poison you even.
Well, they didn't either at this time.
Yeah.
But they probably had some ideas. I mean, they have cool names like Plan A.
Yeah. So
you can tell they're pretty elaborate in the details.
I think these people are so lost they didn't know what else to do with themselves, honestly.
So Nokmim decided of all of the cities that they should target, that the city of Nuremberg would be where they would hit.
Poison the water.
Now, why Nuremberg?
Should I know the answer to that?
Not at all.
Oh, I have no idea. It's the
a
closest to where they
rhetorical
lived?
No, they chose it because it was a huge symbolic representation of Nazi power before and during the war.
More so than most of the other cities?
I guess so. So every year, Nuremberg hosted the largest Nazi parade. So they would bring in, the videos. You can go watch the videos, which I say on many podcast episodes. And it's insane. Like just the thousands of Nazi troops, and they would show off all of their weapons, and Hitler himself would be there to oversee it. And it's pretty wild.
Wow.
Like huge concourses of people, of soldiers. And so it was kind of the headquarters of German propaganda.
Gotcha.
Kind of the heart of the...
What would that be considered for the United States?
Oh,
New York?
No, maybe something like that. Yeah, where DC is the capital, but maybe like New York is the heart of,
or LA.
Yeah,
more New York.
LA is big, but only people on the West Coast care about LA.
Does everybody care about New York?
Well, I don't care about New York, so maybe not. Like LA is a relevant city in my life. New York is not.
Yeah, I want to go to New York.
Yeah, we should go.
Okay.
I want to go around Christmas.
I should buy a boat.
Yeah. Big Corky Romano.
Is
that what that's from?
Yeah. But I just felt like my comment about I want to go to New York was so out of left field. I'm sorry. I was just kind of trying to parallel what Nuremberg would be. So, okay. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah.
My tangents.
But Nokmim hit a hurdle almost immediately when trying to...
Poison the water?
Poison the water.
Oh, this is shocking.
Yeah, because what they needed to do was move members into Nuremberg.
Yeah.
But Nuremberg had a massive housing shortage because the Allies had bombed the crap out of it.
Yeah. Well.
And there weren't many whole buildings left.
Shocking. This is all so shocking.
Yeah, so they needed guys to move in and get jobs, as we talked about, but they couldn't find anywhere for them to live.
So you could work all day. Oh, it's like our old podcast, The Penny.
Yeah.
Or the You Rest Your Head.
What was that called?
And
it was the 4-penny coffin.
Yeah, the 4-penny coffin.
And there was what was the 2-penny?
I can't. You literally like a rope?
It was like a rope, yeah. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, I can't remember the name.
And the 1-penny bench.
Maybe in Nuremberg they started that. If there's no housing,
maybe they should.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had living garden gnomes.
Maybe.
I don't know. But eventually they did get one man in, and he did get a job with the water company.
Wow.
And so with that, he began to explore the waterways and the best areas to deposit the poison.
Do we know what the poison is?
Not yet. But during this same time...
Do we ever get to know what the poison is?
We do.
Okay, good.
During this same time, Kovner himself left Europe and traveled to Palestine.
Seems very...
to try to buy the poison that they needed.
In Palestine?
Yep. So he spent a few months in Israel, but was struggling to come up with much in terms of poison.
Because he didn't have the funding? Or
he had funding.
They didn't
I don't know
have
if it was
supply.
the supply issue.
Why did he pick Palestine? It seems random.
Well, there's probably a lot of Jewish connections in that part of the world. I don't know
even
why.
If you have connections, you still have to have the supply. So, and maybe it's the supply I need to know first, because maybe they have that in Palestine. I'm not sure.
I don't know. So he was able to buy some, and mostly what he was getting into was arsenic.
Okay. Arsenic.
But he was struggling to get large enough quantities for what Nokmim wanted to do.
What happens to arsenic when you put it in water, though?
I don't know. Apparently it's still poisonous.
Okay.
The other problem was he was also being watched pretty closely by Mossad, which is Israel's intelligence agency.
Why?
When you show up looking to buy poison in large quantities.
It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah. The Israeli CIA is probably like, oh, why is this why I want to buy so much poison?
I guess that's true.
And so...
how does one know that you want to buy poison? Like...
Well,
people don't know everything I do. So, like, if I went
to the
this...
government could know everything you were doing if they wanted to.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, no offense, but you and I are nobodies. The government couldn't care less what we're doing. If
you
started doing things they cared about, they would know what you were doing.
I'm very offended.
Well, don't take it up with me. Take it up with the FBI.
Well, I'm going to try
CIA.
buying arsenic and see if anyone pays attention to me.
Okay. You do that.
In large quantities.
Enough to kill 6 million people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then maybe someone will care.
Maybe someone will care about you. So he was struggling. So he communicated back with the rest of the group that maybe it would be a better idea, rather than trying to buy poison, if they could hire or, bring on a chemist who could make poison for them. And they had a name of a guy they wanted to go after. I believe his last name was Ratau. I'm sorry, the Hebrew names, they're really hard for me to hear and pronounce. But he was in a ghetto in World War II, and he was part of an insurgency there using chemical warfare things. And so maybe we can get that guy. Maybe he can come in and make something for us, because I'm really struggling down here to secure it. So Kovner jumped back. He jumped on a ship to head back to Europe, but he must have been talking to somebody, because while on the ship, he gets betrayed.
Whoa.
And turned over to the authorities. Yikes. Who are British on this ship. And I like this part, being a dentist. They find he's got a bunch of toothpaste containers full of gold. That's where he's hiding his gold, is in toothpaste containers.
How do you get it into the toothpaste container?
Well, maybe cut a hole, fill it, in the back, and then heat press it or something, to reseal it. I'm not sure what 1945 toothpaste containers look like. Probably not quite as sleek as ours today.
Yeah.
And then he also had fake cans of, I'm not sure what, but that's where he had his arsenic in. But he was managed to throw most of that overboard before he got arrested. But he did get arrested. And he spent a few months in jail in Cairo, Egypt, under British authority.
He got arrested for the possession of
arsenic and gold toothpaste.
And what does the gold have to do with anything?
I don't know. It's illegal to travel with super large quantities of money.
Well, sure, but
at times, I'm not sure exactly how or when.
Okay.
I know Mexico and Canada, when we cross the border, I always want to know if we've got a bunch of cash.
Sure.
To which I can always gladly say I don't.
Sure. Not gladly. It'd be cool if I ever had
I do have $10,000 of cash on me.
$10,000. Oh yeah, sure. It's just
and
in
some
my
beef jerky.
Back pocket here. Okay, so he got arrested. He was in Cairo. This is just seeming like a bad plan, but okay.
So he writes back to the rest of the group. Hey guys, I'm arrested and I'm struggling to get poison. So for now, let's just move on to plan B.
You still need poison.
You do need poison, but you need less poison to kill tens of thousands than you do millions. Mathematically, that's correct, right?
Still seems like a bad plan. Sure.
Okay.
It still seems like a very bad plan. But okay, so he tells him to go to plan B.
Go to plan B.
And he'll just hang out in Cairo.
He'll just hang out in jail. I wonder what a Cairo jail is like in the 40s.
Yuck.
So, but in the meantime, the group was able to convince the chemist with a last name that kind of sounds like Ratau.
Mm-hmm.
And he begins working with different poisons, trying to make one that will do what they want to do for plan B specifically. So for that, they need it to be odorless, tasteless, and have a delayed response.
Because once you put it in the,
if all of a sudden everyone's just massively sick and dying, it's like, oh, what happened last night that everyone died? But if it takes 4 days to start working, then it's harder to trace back. What could have this been? There's lots of things that this could have been.
Right.
So he's doing that. So after a while, he comes up with a poison that he thinks is going to do the trick, made of arsenic, mixed with glue and some other stuff. Essentially, because they are going to paint it onto loaves of bread. What do you think about that?
I mean,
your silence is great, and I can see your face, but no one listening can see your face.
They're so dumb. I'm just shaking my head back and forth. This is by no means have I ever thought of ways to kill lots of people. This is definitely something that's never crossed my mind. But as you're presenting this plan to me, me and my naivety know that this is just terrible. Like, they're going to take out these pieces of bread, paint them, and put them back in the bag, and then put them back in the store? They're going to hand it out to random people?
No.
I mean, what in the world?
Most people
do you know what this reminds me of?
No, what?
Okay, you remember the people in Boise that opened up tampon boxes? And
They didn't open tampon boxes. They just put their own... I don't even remember what they were selling. They would just adhere them to tampon boxes.
Oh my gosh.
But I do remember that very well, yes. What did they sell?
I don't even remember.
I think it was like some multi-marketing.
It was some multi-marketing thing, and they thought that it was a really good idea to put them... Oh, I thought it was in the tampon boxes.
I don't think so. I think they adhered like their business cards. Like, that's like walking into like Walmart and like sticking your business card on every box of tampons.
Oh, man. Those people, they were something else.
Yeah.
Just all I have to do is say JJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would love to hear the funny stories about these people. He got so much entertainment out of them.
So a buddy of ours was jealous that we lived in the same apartment complex as
So
these folks. So we could see him all the time. He was just so jealous that he didn't ever get to see their antics on a regular basis.
I mean, these are antics you cannot even make up.
Cannot make up.
This is how bad this is. It makes me think of them.
Okay, well,
like
see.
Bread.
I don't think any tampons come into this story.
No, but I mean, just their idea is so dumb.
Well, I think when you hear the full idea, you'll think it's less dumb.
I hope so. Let's keep going then. Maybe I should give them more credit.
To help out, also, please remember that in the 40s, as most places of the world today, bread was bought in daily, if not every other day.
Sure.
From a bakery. There's no slicing. There's no bag. It's just you go in and buy a loaf of...
Oh,
it's
sure.
like a big round, like the bread you make at home.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going into like Walmart and opening and painting every slice of bread and then putting them back in the bag.
I mean, I guess that makes me feel a little bit better about their plan. Okay, fine. I was thinking about like sliced bread and like...
It's not like they have to go through all the Wonder Bread packages.
Okay. That does make me feel a little bit better about their brains.
Yeah. So, anyways, like everyone throughout history, when you need to test something nefarious, you do it on cats.
Oh, no. I thought it was rats.
Nope. Cats seem to be the go-to.
Aww.
Remember our buddy who ate everything and they would feed him a cat to see?
Yeah. This is so disgusting. I love our kitties.
Yeah, me too.
So,
but if you had to poison one of them, you'd choose them over the dog every day.
Oh, sure.
See? You're no better than these guys.
But I would want to choose rats or mice.
We have lots of mice. Less, though, now.
Yeah, because of the kitties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. We could poison them. But it did work on the cats.
Okay. It killed them.
The arsenic glue paint did the job.
So good. In the bread, though? Did they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the cats ate the bread?
Cats ate bread with the odorless, tasteless arsenic paint.
Okay.
And they died.
Well, it's foolproof.
And they were probably Nazi cats.
Probably so.
Yeah. So, even better.
Okay.
So, this is what they did. They chose a prisoner of war camp that was also near Nuremberg that held 50,000 SS officers or other high-ranking Nazi officials.
Okay.
For this mission.
Okay.
That had the amazing name of Plan B.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 2 of the members of Nokmim got jobs at the camp.
Okay.
One of them was a driver. One of them worked in the storerooms.
This is great.
It's great.
This is like...
It's all coming together now.
Ocean's 11 coordination here.
Exactly.
Yep.
The group also found out that all of the bread for the entire camp came from one single bakery in town. Now, in my brain, a bakery is like a small little thing, like the ones I used to go to in Honduras.
Yeah.
But it's like a factory, man.
Oh.
Huge.
Yeah.
And so one of the group members began volunteering at the bakery and eventually was able to bribe the owner into letting some of the group members come in at night.
To paint arsenic on?
To do stuff.
Oh.
To help out with the bread.
Oh.
I mean, I would be sketchy of anybody volunteering to work at my business.
Yeah, at night? Seems
Anytime.
very sus.
Well, yeah, obviously if he's going to let people in at night, you know something's going on.
Yeah.
That's not above board.
Huh.
Or is not kosher. That's right. That's a very applicable.
That's what I was going to say, and then I realized I don't know if I should say that. But yeah.
And so they wanted, and I'll give them credit for this, to find a way to only poison the prisoners and not the U.S. Army servicemen who were overseeing the camp. That was very nice.
Yes. Just seems not very foolproof, but keep going.
So they had to figure out some way to do that, right? And lo and behold, they did. They found out a way. They found that on Sundays, on the Sabbath, the U.S. servicemen got better bread. And only the prisoners of war ate the normal bread from the bakery. So they thought if we can poison the bread on a Saturday night,
that's
then
the not as good bread.
The not as good bread. Then comes Sunday, only the Germans, only the Nazis will eat this bread that will poison them.
Okay.
Seems like they got it all figured out, right, babe? Yep, that's a big thumbs up yawn.
I mean, totally.
So, over the next little bit, they sneak in large amounts of poison into the bakery, and they're hiding it in floorboards, they're hiding it in the walls, they're hiding it anywhere they can.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Why?
I feel like there's something with the arsenic and them hiding it in the same places that's going to kill everybody inside. I don't know.
Good hypothesis.
I don't know much about arsenic, but
It is a good guess.
I feel like this is it's like maybe it spontaneously combusts or something. I don't know anything about arsenic, but I think there's some chemical property that this is going to be an epic nightmare right
It's
here.
like George Costanza's when his fiance licks all of the
the stamps
envelopes.
and ties or the envelopes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. This is a recipe for something terrible. I just know it.
So, the group decides Saturday, April 30th, 1946.
A good spring day.
That's the day that they're going to poison the bread.
Perfect.
It is. Now, if you remember back to Plan A, it had some snags.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Many.
Plan B hit the big snag too.
Oh,
And this is really actually quite fascinating. So, on that day, during the daytime, a strike takes place at the bakery. And the employees go on strike.
are you kidding me?
No.
This is what you call Murphy's Law right here.
Yeah. And so by this time, there were 6 members of the group working in the bakery, but they couldn't get into the bakery because when you're on strike, you don't let people go to work.
Oh, my heavens.
And so only 3 of them were actually able to gain access into the building.
Okay.
And so they went to work that evening, frantically painting, but they only had half their team. And they literally have to. So what they're doing is they're taking this odorless, tasteless, clear arsenic poison paint, and they're painting the bottoms of the loaves of bread. So they're big round loaves of bread. So they paint the bottom, they go on to the next one. So it's not like on the top, you're not cutting it or anything. They're just painting the bottom. So everything looks the same. During that night, they managed to poison 3,000 loaves of bread, which is a lot of bread.
That is a lot of bread.
But their plan was to poison 14,000 loaves of bread. And that's just a lot of bread in one building to begin with.
14,000 loaves of bread?
Yes.
Okay.
But they only got 3,000,
Okay.
which is good for killing some Germans. But
Definitely
not the numbers you're looking for.
Right.
Not Germans, Nazis, who are German.
I thought they wanted to kill anyone that
Well,
was
they did
German.
originally.
Oh.
But
Then
now
we're
this
on
is
plan
just
B.
prisoner of war.
Right, we're on plan B. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they get their 3,000 loaves poisoned. They get the bread into the delivery wherever it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hightail out of there to France. Like they get out of there, the whole group. And they sit and they wait to see what happens. And what do you think happened?
I mean, not what they were planning. I don't know what exactly, but not what they were planning.
So a few days go by and they see a newspaper report out of said camp.
Okay.
2,283 prisoners of war had gotten sick.
They didn't die?
207 of them were very sick and had to be hospitalized. But as far as we know, to this day, not one person died from the poisoning.
Oh, wow.
Now, maybe it's possible someone did die from it, or a small handful did, and they just never reported that's what it was from.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, extremely underwhelming results.
I mean, yeah. Extremely underwhelming.
They went from wanting to kill 6 million German civilians to tens of thousands of prisoners of war to, as far as we know, 0 people.
So, did they just stay in France after that? And they just realized, like, let's just get back to our real lives. Let's try to find the best we can out of this situation.
Yeah, that was really pretty much the end of the group. They disbanded. I'm sure some of them were very militant and probably went on to, do other things. But the group never, at that point, tried anything.
Did he ever get out of jail in Cairo?
So we'll talk about Kovner in a minute.
Oh, okay.
They did find, afterward, arsenic in the bakery.
I mean, yeah.
They found enough arsenic to kill 60,000 people.
60,000?
Yeah.
So not 6 million?
No.
But 60,000 is a good number.
60,000 is a good number. The hypothesis is that in their rush, they painted their poison paint too thinly on the bread. And so it was enough to get them sick, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't lethal. Which is, I mean, I'm not pro any of these plans. I'm not saying these were good plans. I'm actually very glad plan A failed.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm very anti-killing women and children indiscriminately.
Right.
Regardless of the reason. There's plenty of good German people who had nothing to do with any of those things.
Right.
But yeah, so the plan definitely, neither plan worked very well. They should have had a plan C, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that's what we learned from this, is that you can't just have an A and B. You gotta have a C. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I was expecting maybe something to like combust or blow up or
it would make the story cooler.
Something terrible, but literally that we know of, there not even one person died, which is great.
Yeah, we're not pro-death.
No, but it's just funny to me.
It's a lot of work.
And
money.
Yes.
And planning.
For
and anger.
Failure.
All filtered down to some sick guys.
Yeah. Which, again, at the same time, I think you would be so lost that maybe this gave them something to kind of focus on, to feel satiated in their revenge, whatever the word I don't even know is. And then they realized, okay, this is actually not helping. This is unhealthy. This is making me more miserable. I'm really going to just go try to savor the joys that are left in life and find more light, more of who I am.
Maybe did buy some of them some buffering time to kind of
just,
like, yeah, that revenge thing wasn't all it cracked out to be.
Like work through so much trauma.
Yeah. I mean, war's nasty.
Oh, it's so.
The world's nasty. Mm-hmm. We talk about this sometimes, the peace and prosperity that we live in, our kids live in, our parents grew up in, even our grandparents to a degree. It's unprecedented in the world. Like, we think this is how life should be because it has been for 4 generations. But it's the only 4 generations that have ever experienced anything like this.
There's lots of places.
Death and sickness and disease and cruelty is much more the norm.
Well, there's lots of places in the world, even right now.
Well, that's true.
That, it's not like the way it is. So, yeah. I mean, I feel sad for them. I understand maybe just knowing where they would be coming from these, some of the history books that I read. But I think when you're in a very low, lonely, sad place, it would be easier to recruit someone like this, and then them realizing, like, hopefully after time, that isn't what's going to actually help heal them the best, So,
yeah,
anyway, I don't know.
So Kovner, he got out of the prison.
I was going to say, was he?
He was a pretty active participant in a lot of the wars and in the armies that established Israel as a nation.
Oh, good.
Well, I mean, yeah. So he...
well, it's like he found a different...
He played an active role in Israel's, some of the early skirmishes, wars.
I guess maybe... I just was thinking he found something different.
He found something
a different focus, but maybe it still wasn't...
Depending on...
Yeah.
What side of the fence you're on, that's a good or a bad thing, I guess, I'll stay out of those arguments.
For sure.
But
right.
He, I guess, wrote quite a bit of poetry during this time, even as a soldier. And it's become very, very prolific Israeli poetry about World War II.
Interesting.
I found this interesting. He's buried in Kibbutz, which is on the southern area part of Israel, which is where Israel was attacked on October 7th. Okay. October 7th, is that the right date? I think that's right. Anyways, last year it was in that town, colony, whatever the right word is.
That is.
Which is totally indifferent to this story, but I found it interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So, but yeah, he lived.
He just stayed sort of in
Israel
at that point. Yeah. I mean, that's probably a better place to be than trying to kill 6 million Germans,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So hopefully they found, each one of the people that did join this group, a different way to channel, all the, like you said, trauma that they experienced, So anyway.
Yeah, very different story for us. A little heavier.
Yeah, definitely.
But when I came across Jewish Avengers, I was like, I have to see what this is about.
A Jewish Avenger.
And then it was fascinating.
They're not as good as the real Avengers.
Well, they needed a Thor.
Yeah, true. Everyone needs a Thor.
And maybe a Captain Israel, or...
Yeah.
I mean, Israel wasn't a thing at the time.
Yeah.
But Captain America, who fought in World War II.
Right. He did. Yeah. I mean, really, you need all of the Avengers. You can't live without them.
Actually, I take that back. Did Cap fight in World War II, or is he just a propagandist in World War II? No, he fought in World War II.
No, he fought. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He fought for sure.
Gotta keep my MCU timeline straight here.
Yeah, it's a complicated timeline.
But really, a Thor is what everyone needs, in my opinion.
100% agree.
If you can get a demigod with a cool hammer to be on your team, it's probably the way to go.
Sure. But, I mean, any of them are going to be helpful.
Yeah, Iron Man.
But I think...
I actually don't know about... what's his face that shoots arrows?
Eagle
okay,
Eye?
No. Nope. Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. I knew it was something like that.
Pigeon Eye. Sparrow Eye.
I said Eagle Eye. That is another very good name. Not like I said Sparrow Eye. Or
Quail Eye.
Stop.
Yeah.
I was so close. Are you kidding me?
You were close. You're birds of prey. That's good.
Okay.
Okay.
He's
rolling a lot of eyes.
I inspired you.
You did.
With my educated guess.
You did.
So that you could get the right answer.
Long story short, I'm not sure how helpful he would be.
I think any of them would be helpful. Maybe not in killing 6 million people, but that's not the point of the Avengers anyway.
I don't know what he does for the Avengers, other than he's a cool actual person.
Okay.
Like his character seems like he's a cool guy.
All right. Well, we're not going to stop bashing on the Avengers and just say
bashing on the Avengers?
That our Avengers are better than their Avengers.
They would definitely win in a fight.
Yeah. That's all I was saying. That's it.
So. Alrighty. Well, on that note, it's time to go, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good night or good day, good week.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode talking about something strange. I don't know what yet.
Not the bad.
But Avengers. I will figure it out.
Okay, have a good night.
Have a great night. Bye.